I left a thingy for Sam, did you see?
I haven't listened.
All right. I'll give you a précis of it sometime.
My feet haven't touched the floor, as they say.
I've got a feeling you're busy.
Busy ain't always good, is it?
No, unless you're a bee.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to episode 45 of I'm Fine, a chat between myself, Damo, and someone who's not afraid to tell a policeman he's wrong. Mark.
He was.
Yeah, bang out of order, wasn't he?
Yeah. The feds.
What do they know?
Giving it large.
Yeah, you giving it large back.
Come and have a go if you... I would have hit him with my mindfulness.
Not your, what's it?
Rhythm stick.
Rhythm stick. There's a chat around the subjects of health, wealth, well-being, fitness, sport, business and silliness. Plenty of silliness or titting about. Arthur Bog Whistle, Facebook, January 2021. We're all work in progress and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness, then our work here is done. As a podcast, we're happy to be donating to two Bristol organisations that we believe are making change for good. Check out the Sword Association at swordassociation.org and the Bristol Cable at thebristolcable.org. Coming up, warm up and stretch, catch up, books marks. My mouth's gone again. Work-life ballet, a little bit of lifestyle design.
Is that like a clickbait for
Kind of,
46?
eh?
You mentioned the lifestyle thing, didn't you?
Yeah, in the last one.
But it's going to be a thing, isn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, I spotted it and I kind of wanted to talk about it.
Okay.
We'll come to it. Why don't we do that?
Lifestyle sounds like a Tupperware range, doesn't it?
Yeah. It might work.
Lifestyle by Asda.
Survivorship bias. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Oh, nuts. I wanted to tell you something you might not have heard before.
Yeah, I do know.
Oh, it was in the A stream. I've read every book known to man.
Yes, I read it in Latin.
Of course you did. Anyway, how are you, Mark?
I've had 2 days that I've described in my head as steady.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever used that. Is it an adjective? I guess it is.
Steady?
Or an adverb.
Like just steady?
Yeah. No, steady's... Yeah. No, I don't ever
You
use
taking
that.
steady? Because steady isn't... I wouldn't associate you with steady.
No,
Eddie?
I'm happy with steady.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You didn't save up 2 days of judgment that you just downloaded on me, have you?
No, I have been judgmental.
I was feeling a little bit like lackluster, and you just come in and unleashed both barrels, and I feel brilliant now. It's actually good therapy. You got a few things off your chest. You feel better. I feel better because I've just been pissing my pants for the last 10 minutes. So you've kind of changed my mood.
I think there is a certain dichotomy listening back when I think you put something in the show notes about basically picking a fight with someone from a road rage accident and then telling everybody to do a very gentle face scan. And everything starts off with...
5 minutes later, it's like, concentrate on your breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steady's all right, right?
Yeah.
You take steady.
You take steady at the moment, I'm guessing. I think you're swamped.
What? Honestly, I don't even know where to start. Work is just madness. It is. I've never had anything like it. I've realised we've been doing our job descriptions of late. Mm-hmm. All I've done for the last, 10 plus, a lot longer is just write other people's job descriptions. Never had to write my own. So actually writing my own was almost like coming to write my CV, and I've not had to write a CV in about 18 years or something.
Yeah.
That's quite weird, really, when you think about that.
Are you doing it retrospectively, as in this is what I do, or forward-looking back, this is what I should be doing?
Yeah, but all of those things, I suppose. That's certainly what I should be doing now. But it's pretty much talking.
Your job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dawned on me today. For just coming home physically exhausted from just talking. And then look what we're doing here.
How do you relax?
Yeah, hang out with Mark and talk.
I think one of the things I'm finding with two people that I'm in touch with at the moment, both clients, work seems to become... Let me take this again. From the outside, for someone who is unable to work at the moment, now I'm able to fill my time because I've got a number of things that fill my time. And my training's going well, and that's that's good that I've got the...
And your eating is going well.
My eating's going
well.
well.
The size of you, hardly get in here.
And
I had to take the back doors out just to get you in.
How many back doors have you got? So the point I was going to make was these two people are both working from home and both are finding that work is a massive millstone around their neck. And I'm picturing when I've been in a position of some management position where I felt massive stress or been writing a bid till 2 in the morning. And I know work has that. But taking this as a spectator and looking back, it's very easy going, don't work so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that's really naive and they're going to go, but I've got deadlines to make and I've got these people demanding these things.
Yeah.
But there is that taking the step away and creating the wise mind is almost, if I am working 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 13, and all those 12 or 13 hours are frantic and I'm not eating properly and not sleeping properly, when does the hamster wheel finish? And it finishes when the hamster falls out.
Dead.
Or very, very tired.
Yeah. Or dead tired.
Yeah. So
you're right. No, good point. Good point.
So, and I know it's so simplistic to go, well, get control of your work or order your day better. But I think when people are saying work is dictating or impinging upon other things, the basics of life, the sort of eating, walking, drinking, then surely we've got to take a step back and just go, this isn't right.
But also,
I know what. Sorry, one last thing. I know people are going to go.
We're going to be touching on this again, so it's a nice little starter.
I think it's just. I mean, I know you're, and maybe you're in a different position because you've got what you've got going on is maybe time sensitive, and it hasn't always been thus, is it? We've had times when you've gone, I've had a really good relaxed day at work, or I've had a know, creative. At the moment, there are pressures, but I was just thinking, I don't know,
I think you can question why. When you're quiet and you're having those days where you don't feel necessarily fulfilled, you're like, am I adding anything here? You get the, what am I doing this? And then there's the other end of the spectrum, which is, why am I putting myself through this?
Exactly. And then when you said
trying to find that, on a sliding scale, trying to find the comfy middle ground, which to be fair, actually, I think I might have touched on this before, is this thing that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
The middle ground, just the comfortable. It does. I actually get really, really nervous, and things very rarely stay comfortable and in that middle spot for very long. But if you kind of get 3 months of, my arse starts to twitch.
But then you and I are hopefully developing something that is going to take us out of comfortable. Do you know what I mean? That we could be progressing something that was going to put additional pressures, but maybe pressures we're choosing.
Yeah, and we talked about the stress thing, didn't we, with Bryony, that you need the stress. And I think I don't ever sit here and go, I'm so stressed, and I don't point. It's me.
Yeah,
and we'll come to the kind of lifestyle design, which this is pretty much it. What you decide your life is going to be and how it's going to play out. Yeah. We've got choices, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sometimes we kind of, our own choices back us into a corner where we forget they are our choices.
Yeah.
To start with, you've put yourself here.
Yes.
We're back to the kind of invest in us and taking accountability, aren't we? And that kind of, you know what I mean? So I'm comfortable with that because I put myself in it.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in a stressful situation that I put myself in. There's nothing worse than when I was dumping you in one. And that kind of, kind of feeling that pressure to get out of it or to deal with it. I think I think I thrive off it, I think. In a weird way. I don't ever sit here and
having seen you for a while,
moan about how
No, you never do.
I'm feeling absolutely whacked, but I'm definitely getting off on it.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
But going back to the job description thing, I think the difference is between exactly what you said. You're, to a degree, master of your own circumstances. If you're feeling whacked, it's because you've chosen to do that. It's because you're the boss. What made me think about the job description is one of the people I'm discussing is in a job, and I'm sure when she took that job on, it said, this is your job description. And it has that bit at the back.
She's not doing that now.
Well, it has the bit at the end, doesn't it? Any other duties, which basically means work your bollocks off. So that's number one. Number two is this is your salary. So for 40 hours a week, we're going to pay you £40,000.
Yeah.
So it's £1,000 a week. But if you work 56 hours a week, and then your weekly take-home wage is, I don't know, 720. Would you taken a job that said we're going to now pay you X an hour rather than what you take? You wouldn't have signed up. You go, why would I sign up for a job? And then what happens because of peer pressure in society is, well, I'm in a management position and you work outside the hours. No. Sometimes there'll be an emergency.
Yeah,
but if it becomes the norm, then...
And with responsibility becomes those kind of, there's a little bit of you might have to take a late phone call or, you know, you might have to sort some crap out at the weekend.
Yeah, but if an organisation lets it become the norm, as well as you letting it, and they do.
Yeah, and that's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's easy for things just to habits to form and bad habits to form.
Yeah.
And you can't always pick them up. So I understand that. But there's plenty of people out there going... If I don't hear anything, it's not a problem.
Yeah. And how many of these are organisations that's mission statement will be, people first and we care for our staff and.
They're the worst. The ones who talk about
yeah.
that. I think you shouldn't even have to talk about it. I think it should be just part of your. If you have to put that on your website, saying we're all about culture, you ain't got one.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to some laughs. Come on.
Poo.
Okay. We're neither.
Yeah. No, as in excrement.
Yeah.
You said in the last podcast, well, kind of poo's funny. Well, it is funny, isn't it?
No, you find it funny. You make me take the moral high ground because you talk.
Come on.
Yes, I do.
Like you're all serious.
Yeah.
You find it. What? You don't find poo funny?
I don't find poo or farting funny.
Legit.
Ask people who know me.
Okay. That's my intro sorted for next episode. I think, no, I do find it funny. My point was that bottoms and poo are funny. You haven't seen my arse. But have you? Maybe you have. No, I don't think you have. I don't know, have you? Anyway.
8 minutes 54, edit.
But it's very serious. They're very serious things. Poo is serious.
Yeah.
And we just throw it out, don't we?
Yeah.
we flush it down the toilet, don't we? I mean, what are we doing?
We mentioned the Bristol stool chart before. Did you cut that out?
We did. No, really early
Was
on.
it actually in?
Really early.
Yeah.
No, we did.
Okay.
But I think we need to be able to talk about our bottoms and the things that come out of them in a more free... I'm being serious here.
Yeah.
Right? Legit, I think it's really important. And I've always been really shy about stuff. The idea of having to show your bottom to a doctor. And after the stuff that I went through, I'll happily
Especially when it's an eye test.
Yeah. Wrong room.
That's become for an eye test.
I'll show my bottom to anyone now.
Do you want to know why I've got a problem finding humour in your toilet humour?
Yeah, well, I found your hemorrhoid, southern hemisphere hemorrhoids.
Oh, yeah.
Hilarious, and you were just telling it like me.
No, I thought, as I said, I thought
hemorrhoids
they were
aren't
alive.
funny.
No, but these were like, seriously.
I didn't pick you up on that. How
No,
can
I know.
hemorrhoids be alive?
It came overnight. Like literally, I woke up and I've been in Peru and we'd flown back via Venezuela and we'd stopped there for a couple of nights. And I literally ran into my friend's room and I went, literally, I've got
Look at this.
eels or gummy snakes or something like that crawling out my ass. Because they're sore, aren't they? They're not.
Did you show them? Did you just kind of lean back?
Yeah,
and
I didn't mind him
split your
looking.
legs
He looked and he went, you've got some little lumps by your bum.
Oh, you show your mate, did you? Okay, cool. You're comfortable with that, are you? No problem?
No, well, not. It was just like, yeah.
There's something wrong with my ass. Check this out. So good. No, but back to my point, I think it's good. You should be able to, if you're worried and
then you had to get that cream when I got back, and it's called Anusol, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they go, no, it's like Anusol. It's
no,
like
it's got anus in the
it's like Uranus.
The pharmacists don't want to say it.
But it's like with drugs. I know when I used to do a lot of work. Why am I laughing? I used to do a lot of work with people.
Because bums are funny, Mark.
No, onto drug misuse now. People that used to
That's hilarious.
misuse drugs. In the settings, like in drug projects, the drugs were often given really like funky names.
All right. Like what? Like from a marketing angle. Let's make this. Let's jazz this one up.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Like, you got an example?
Well, just like with cocaine, isn't it? It's like.
Oh, in terms of nicknames, you mean?
Yeah, and so like Snow White or Charlie or,
Yeah.
But
they sound quite nice, don't they?
Yeah, it's quite fancy.
Yeah. You ever go on some Charlie, wouldn't you? Because it's called Charlie. It sounds friendly.
I've got Snow White.
Yeah. All right.
That was used in What's Her Face, wasn't it? Don't Do It. Oh, shit. You know the one I mean. White Lines. Grandmaster Flash.
Yeah,
White Lines, Don't Do It. Banned by the BBC. It was an anti-cocaine and anti-drug song, and the BBC banned it because it was about drugs. It was basically the whole thing was going, White Lines, Don't Do It. It's like a clue in the title. Whereas when Frankie Goes to Hollywood,
and
really something, relax when you want to come. The BBC didn't see through that one.
No, they didn't, did they? Anyway, we should talk about our bottoms more. Maybe that's for another time.
Okay.
But quarter of an hour in, we haven't talked about COVID.
You edit everything we say about COVID.
Yeah. I might do the same with this. As well as protecting yourself from the virus on the outside, you can also build up your defences from the inside by strengthening your immune system. Many people, especially the young, develop only very mild disease. The immune system is complex and highly responsive to the world around us, so it's not surprising that many factors have affected its function. What's important to know is most of these factors are not hard-coded in our genes, but are influenced by lifestyle and the world around us. One thing we can control immediately is the health of trillions of microbes living in our gut, which we've talked about, the microbiome, collectively known as the microbiome. Recent research has shown that the gut microbiome plays an essential role in the body's immune response to infection and and maintaining overall health, as well as mounting a response to infectious pathogens like coronavirus. A healthy gut biome also helps to prevent potentially dangerous immune overreactions that damage the lungs and other vital organs. These excessive immune responses can cause respiratory failure and death. This is also why we should talk about supporting rather than boosting the immune system, as an overactive immune response can be as risky as an underactive one. Keep everything, all the things you can keep healthy, try and keep healthy, try and understand them and try and do what you can. You bought me some kefir. And
how's it going?
Good. I decanted my first.
I forgot about mine, obviously.
Well, what you've?
I left it 3 days.
It's dead now, isn't it?
No,
Or
it's okay. I think I've rescued it.
It's under the seat, growing. Like you won't be able to get in.
I
You
spread
open
it
the
on the
car.
dashboard, yeah.
Probably be right there.
Or milk in the car. That's the worst thing.
I mean, it
Oh.
smells funky, doesn't it?
Oh, well, the kefir?
Yeah.
Does it?
Did you not have a whiff? You? Ooh.
No.
Yeah, but
Okay, so.
I put it in oat milk because I don't like cow juice. Decanted it, and it is nice.
You drunk it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm going to save it up.
Do what with it?
Well, it lasts for 2 or 3 weeks in the fridge. You just keep, you've done another culture, yeah?
Well,
You've kept the grains and refed them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to wait till I've got.
They don't really seem to be growing very fast. Maybe they don't grow very fast in.
The grains just stay as they are, I think.
Do they?
They just eat the milk and then just keep going.
Okay, they've got
They last
bigger.
forever.
They've got I've decanted it, kept them in there, put more oat milk in. Not milk. Maybe it's a different kind of thing with milk, but so I got it in the fridge, and it's really nice.
Good.
It's better than like Yakult, I think.
Yeah.
So I've got a mate who did it with milk, and he said it was almost like a fizzy taste to it, and he said he didn't like it, but yeah, I really like it.
So we're not going to talk about COVID, as you said.
No, we're not going to.
But on my Insta stories, did you see a little while ago, I mentioned something called ivermectin?
No.
I'm going to do this in 30 seconds. I really will. So ivermectin, zinc, and 1 or 2 other things are being.
Oh, I thought it was a person, ivermectin. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Beg your pardon.
No, it's
Is it big on Twitter?
Ivermectin is being used in a lot of countries, India especially, for the treatment to relieve the effects of COVID. And I think I mentioned some time ago there was something for a couple of dollars that has ivermectin, zinc, and 1 or 2 other things in. Right. And it's basically over the counter. And I said on my Insta story, this will never be sold here.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a couple of legal cases in America where people have said, I want to be treated with ivermectin. And they've been refused, and then the courts go, yes, you can be treated with it. Okay, and ivermectin is a medication, and it's used mostly in animals to treat parasitic infestations.
Right.
It's been around a long, long time. But in humans, it's things like head lice, scabies, river blindness, other stuff like that. Right. And in veterinary medicine, it's used as well. Yeah. And there's a big groundswell of opinion that it can be used to reduce the effects of COVID. So I put this up and I said, it's been around a long time. It's a bit like the vitamin D. It's been around. It doesn't have to be proved. There's a lot of people saying it has a positive effect. Again, because I'm not in any position to judge and go, oh yes, because a few people say this. So, done my research, looked into it, and it is now being sold especially in developing countries, as like to help people out. Yeah. As ever, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole and found out that it was done in a study in, I think, 2012. I don't have the documents here. I think 2012. I think in Imperial College, but I will check this for the notes. And 3 people looked into its role in reducing parasites linked to malaria, and found that it was very effective. And one of the 3 main researchers was Chris Whitty.
Oh, off the government.
Off the government, yeah. So I thought, that's funny. Something that's in a lot of countries now being used to work with COVID, because it's very, very cheap. And Chris Whitty knows all about it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. So I thought, well, maybe he's not mentioning anything at the moment. And then I just went a little bit. Then I went a little bit further to find out what Chris Whitty used to do back in the day. And when he was involved with this and other studies, not him. Categorically not him, but the department of which he oversaw and was in charge of received some funding from Bill Gates.
Oh.
$40 million.
That's not small change.
No, to look into immunity and vaccines and blah, blah, blah. So just putting that out there. That was more than 30 seconds.
It was, wasn't it? Thank you.
Just interesting.
Yeah. You like a deep dive, don't you? That policeman.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Go on.
We were sat having a business meeting outside a business premises.
Yes, in the open air.
Open air.
Socially distanced.
Yes. I had my back to the establishment, as did you, and the person we were having the meeting with had his back to the road.
Yeah.
And as you guys were talking, I noticed a police car go past, and they with 2 people in it, and they had a bit of a look, carried on their way. We haven't talked about this since
Didn't know this. I was just about to correct you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I thought, they definitely slowed down. They both had a little look, and they just carried on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw another one kind of over the shoulder of the person we were meeting.
What, another car?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With one policeman in it, slowed down, and the window came down.
Yeah.
Which I think he shouted, "Can you move on?"
Yeah.
And
I thought he said something like, I thought he even said something like, "There's a pandemic. Can you move on?" Or
well, I think he went
sort of throwaway comment.
I think he was, he said, yeah, that. And I think he then went, "We don't have to."
Yeah.
And he went, "It's lockdown."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the person we were meeting turned around and went, "This is my establishment.
Yes.
We're having a business meeting."
Yeah.
And this policeman's response was, "Of course you are."
Yeah.
Oh, a business meeting. Like
he almost went like that with like his fingers, didn't he? His speech.
It was like a Harry Enfield character.
But he was parked in the middle of the road, of a very busy road at this stage, shouting at us from the car, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that was the point.
And you just think, okay, if you think we're bullshitting, get out and do your job.
Yeah.
And ask us and ask for ID and whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll prove that this is what, you know what I mean? I didn't like the lip.
No.
But then I started the thing.
And he then just sat there, sort of staring, didn't he?
Yeah.
Once we'd given that
and
answer.
then went on his way. And then you didn't need to flick the V's up at him.
I did make a comment as well, didn't I?
Yeah, buddy. But that wasn't the attitude, not yours.
Yeah.
His attitude wasn't the attitude. But also part of me just went, well, if I was him, I wouldn't have got out the car and just gone and had, 3 guys. I wouldn't have, if I was on my own, I just wouldn't have done it. Then you think, what a ridiculous task the police have got.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the attitude, but I can kind of forgive him for the fact he doesn't want to be doing any of that. He doesn't be driving right. He's got his, you know what I mean? He's got his job to do. Sees us.
I think we have
the only problem I had.
different-
The only problem I had was with his attitude.
I think my attitude is based on not being in Y's mind. And I think my questioning of things would be, so for example, in lockdown 1, in the common outside my house, my neighbour was there teaching her daughter maths, sat in the middle of about 5-acre field.
Yeah.
No one within probably 200 yards. And the police drove up, parked
on the
right next to the common.
Grat. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right,
they'd been circling. They'd been circling the common.
Right.
And they pulled up, and this guy got out, and I noticed him get out, and I thought, I wonder what he's doing. And he walked over, and I thought, I'll just go and see in case there's a problem, because my neighbour was there, literally. And he went, "You'll have to leave," to my neighbour. And she said, "Sorry, what?" And he went, "You're sitting down on the common." She said, "Oh, I'm teaching my child maths. This is, June or whatever it was."
Yeah.
And he went, "You can't. You're only allowed to exercise." And she went, "Well, I've got a football here. We've been playing football. Now we've just sat down to do 20 minutes maths. Like, she's done her PE, now she's doing her maths." And he went, "You'll have to do the maths inside." And she went, "Why?" He said, "Because you can't be exercising and sitting down." So she said, "If I stand up and walk, can I do it?" And he went, "Yeah, but it's too late now." It's like, and I came across and I went, seriously, I think, and I intervened, and maybe it was none of my business. But I think this is going back to me being a diplomat in the infant school.
Yeah.
That is just plain ridiculous, because what's happened is that my neighbour has now been there with an 8-year-old child.
No one's disputing that's ridiculous. No one with a right mind can dispute that's ridiculous.
But he didn't have to do it. If he'd got up and said...
No, he didn't. He's doing it by the book. So it's not his fault. Because then you're into which bits of the law the police are going to determine which to... I would put the farm on that policeman standing there going, I really don't want to be doing this. Right?
Maybe, but if it was... Oh, no, because it's an easy target. It's the thing I posted today. Woman gets fined £17,000 for opening a hairdresser's in...
That's a lot, by the way. I didn't question... I didn't read the
Oh,
story.
it was
how come it was so much?
She was opened several times. It's
I
think it's 10,000 for the first, isn't it?
She wouldn't get...
If you organise...
Sure. So what did the policeman in Bethnal Green get for organising the hairdresser who came to the police station?
Well, the point I was making, which I said in my Insta story today, she
fine?
got fined 17 grand. She's in a back street hairdresser's in Bradford. Yeah. I was watching some highlights of the football. Oh, yeah. Every footballer has a perfect hair. Every newsreader has a perfect hair. I was watching...
Someone's getting a haircut somewhere.
Somebody is cutting those people's hair and they're not getting fined 17. So therefore, and also, the whole thing about the Premier League, they asked them not to celebrate goals. Mm-hmm. And basically most of the managers went, well, that's going to be really tricky. Leicester... They did it straight away, yeah. Man City last night are bloody French kissing each other with their perfect hair.
So then we're going off topic a little bit here.
Really?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Good.
But this was about a policeman being arsey. Didn't need to be.
Didn't need the sarcasm.
But also, I'm not blaming the police, because then you're into, well, he either does it or just ignores the whole thing. But you're right. A woman teaching a kid is a bit ridiculous.
But
Obviously
if you
having a
go
slow day.
for soft targets, then I do blame the police. That's what I'm saying.
We talk about gradations, don't we? Then you're into when does it become a hard target? Are we hard target? Are we a soft target? Set outside that place.
I've had my burger van forcibly removed outside Busby's nightclub at 2 a.m.
You're still sore about it, aren't you? Even now.
I was not obstructing the highway.
I think that we've got to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Quicker than I thought we had.
From that day on, they've had it in for me.
Well,
we got all political. We need to be jokey in this first bit. Let's do one jokey. Tee me up for something else. You must have a list.
Well, if you want to bring the laughs, bring the laughs. Funny guy.
Okay. The night I stole a traffic parking meter. That's funny.
I think it's an awful story. Unbridled vandalism.
I thought you'd have laughed a bit more. Yeah, it was
breaking the law.
And theft.
What about?
Okay.
I was bringing, humour with bottoms and poo, but you weren't even having that. God, you're miserable. Right, let's go.
I got all the good bits out before I started.
Lifestyle design, from what I can see, it's a term that was coined by Tim Ferriss. Like we always say, are you taking your top off?
Always. You wouldn't let it lie.
Is it a bit tight? And you've got 2 layers on under that.
I do have a lot of layers.
I'm not even going to mention what you did with your coat when you came in. You literally
threw it on the floor.
You threw it on the cat litter. I mean, it's an absolute shower of, honestly.
I thought it was a potpourri.
And I went, what's that about? And you went, I couldn't find a hook.
So
I left
couldn't.
it on the floor.
Yeah.
Honestly. One touch rule. Coat, see? Or was that it? I took my coat off.
Down.
Dealt with it. Yeah.
Sorted.
I think it was coined by Tim Ferriss. I'm not. You're probably you familiar with Tim Ferriss or not?
No. I was gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I think there's a clip. We'll put these links up, and I don't really want to get into this, but I thought I was going to kind of turn it back on you really and ask you about this. But he kind of defined it as lifestyle design would effectively be a contrasting philosophical lens through which to look at career and personal development that is juxtaposed with slave, save and retire. So I'm going to cash in my chips in 20 to 30 to 40 years. That will then redeem this period of doing many things that I dislike doing.
Yeah.
So just a quick look at kind of what you meant by slave, save and retire. If you work 40, we've just been touched on this. If you work 40-hour work weeks for 40 years, work is 34% of your waking hours for 40 years. If you work 50-hour work weeks for 40 years, work is 43%. Right up your street, these numbers, aren't they? All of your
Well, you're getting close to half
hours
of your waking hours then, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you go 60-hour week for 40 years, that is half of your waking hours. So I guess the whole point, and we kind of touched on this before in terms of, I think you mentioned it with the 800 hours, and actually if you do...
Oh, there was the 80,000 hours in a lifetime, wasn't it?
Actually, and do you actually spend 800 hours? Was it 10% of that?
Oh, I think it was even... No, it's 1%, wasn't
1%.
it? Do you spend 1% of the time you're going to be working in your life planning it?
Yeah. When I think of this, I think of career advisors. I remember when I went to my career advisor, it was only once. And he said, what do you want to be? And I went, I want to be a drummer. And he went, let's have a look at some other things, shall we? And that was it. I think nowadays you could probably go in. I think it'd probably be the best job in the world, wouldn't it? Being a career advisor. Little kind of, bright-eyed kiddie comes in and goes, I want to be an astronaut. And you're like...
You can be anything you want to be.
Yeah. And you can get right. We've got space centres you can go. It's like almost you can go in and say anything. I want to be a footballer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Become very good at football.
Yeah. And if you don't, there's coaching, there's sports science, there's nutrition, there's...
It does happen, though.
You can still be in and around football. You know what I mean? It's
I was being a bit sarcastic then.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
you meant it, didn't you?
yeah, I did.
No, of course you can't be a bloody footballer.
Why not?
Because basically in this game, all the good jobs are taken by the sons and daughters of people that have got good jobs. End of.
Not football.
Nana Cherry, Mabel. I rest my case.
What? What are you talking about?
That's what happens.
Not football.
Yes. Frank Lampard Jr.
Oh, come on.
There's a clue.
Come on.
Harry Redknapp, Jamie Redknapp Jr.
Jamie Redknapp. Best you could do.
Yeah.
Okay, David Beckham.
Nana Cherry.
David Beckham.
Mabel.
Brooklyn's too busy, taking photos.
He's been trialing. One of them's been trialing with Arsenal.
Of course, they've been trialing. Of course they have.
You're disregarding the Nana Cherry Mabel one.
I don't know what you're talking about. I tried to go...
Boris Johnson's PT.
Is what? Who's
He's got a, inverted commas, a celebrity PT, hasn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he has.
Right.
I was trying to find out if you'd recommended vitamin D. That would have been so brilliant.
Would you want to be Boris Johnson's PT?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
You surprise me all the time.
So, Boris Johnson's PT...
He'd be there trying to lift, right? I bet, and you'd just be literally grilling him, wouldn't you? You'd be giving him shit. That's why you want to be his PT.
I'd just be injecting vitamin D and
I bet you wouldn't even call him Boris, would you?
Of course I fucking wouldn't.
You'd be like Prime Minister every 5 minutes, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, no, I would be respectful. I wouldn't disrespect anyone. But the point I'm making, his PT... I get him to change the police service. I get the feds off my back. That's the first thing I get. I get Priti Patel to get them sorted.
Yeah, pardon for all your previous misdemeanors.
Yeah, Trump listed it. Traffic meters, blocking the highway, graffiti. Yeah, the list goes on.
Common assault.
It would be like, what was it? Was it Lil Wayne? It was one of the rappers, wasn't it? Trump let off.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Basically having a firearm. It's like, that was cute.
No, it's not cute.
Honestly. Oh, yeah. So his PT, and I'm thinking, where he comes from, just had a little look at that. His mother was someone big in Doctor Who.
I thought it was about Nina Cherry.
That's a Mabel.
What?
Do you know Mabel?
No, she's...
Oh, God.
Why am I not connecting with you today? Why am I not getting anything you're saying?
When you said about the footballers, I thought you were being ironic and sarcastic in that because society...
I thought you were kind of riding my wave of enthusiasm.
No. I was riding the wave of Instagram influence going, you can be anything you want to be. Yeah.
Well, you can be.
Positivity and everything.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, but you can be.
You can't be a footballer if you're shit at football.
Okay. But the options are there. Of course, if you can't kick a football for your life, right? Of course. I wanted to be a drummer. Yeah, I was probably 12. No one's ever any good at anything at 12.
The point I thought you were making, it was back in the day, it was basically they would look at your social status, they would look at your exam results and go, you should be an accountant, you should be
and if you're not in your A stream and you're in the D stream...
I was an accountant for 6 weeks, by the way. That's another story.
Of course you were.
No, the point I was making is that you were going, it must be great being a career advisor. And I was being not necessarily sarcastic.
Because you can be encouraging and you can give people hope and you can give... Because that's the time when you come out of the lessons, you probably have a half time, you can go in and go, this is what I want to be. In that moment, right in that moment. Because I remember that moment and I was told I couldn't do what I wanted to do. Or I wasn't even told that. It was just completely disregarded, like I hadn't even said anything.
The point I was making is that
that could have been different.
The best jobs have been sewn up.
My path could be different. Best jobs what? Sewn up?
Yeah.
You still think this is the case?
Yes, totally.
In some areas, I'd agree, but it's not.
In the exciting areas like sport and music, yes, everything is a closed shop.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No?
No, I think there's an element of that.
Agree to differ.
You run, right?
Did.
Okay, didn't mean to bring that up.
Yeah.
But there's people out there who probably don't know what abilities they've got.
True.
I guess that's kind of where I'm going.
You.
If I was 12, and then, you can go and you go to music school. Right, there's a you throw a stick these days, you hit a music school. Back in my day, there were few and far between. Yeah. You probably had to be your A stream, kind of intellectual, kind of, viola player. Now there's also these kind of little pop-up colleges and you can go and sing, you can go and play drums, you can play guitar, get a bit of a shot, see if you're any good at anything. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean you're going to, just because you go in that room and go, it's not Mr. Ben going, I want to be a footballer, you can walk out a footballer. But it might just give you a little bit of hope. And I think that's really important. In terms of design, the kind of back to the design, it's deciding what your life wants to be. And that might be, I don't think it's necessarily too early, but why not? That's okay. It's nothing worse than getting to 40 and go, that's what I wanted to do. And part of this is deciding, not being in a dead-end job. There's ways to earn money passively now. There's ways to start up a business on a mobile phone. Yeah. There's opportunity and there's tools. Okay. And they're more freely accessible. And I think you kind of have that. That's where I was going with the career thing. Maybe there were just less options and that career advisor didn't know the options. It was pretty limited. Had one book and it's just a book of universities around the country. Because that's what you do. You go to school and you go to university. Why don't I get on that path? I'm good at art. And they went, we'll go down the media route. I'm like, okay, whatever. That's what happened. Here's some media courses, at these colleges. I'm like, okay, great. And that was it. Off I went. Okay, I'm going to withdraw slightly in terms of my cynicism. I agree with you. There is opportunity now that maybe didn't exist back in the day, or that maybe people could present a wider breadth of things that are achievable. Mm-hmm. The point I'm making is that cronyism, and I think why I'm a bit bitter is some of the stuff there was. I think that absolutely happened. I'm not denying that that's the thing, and it's still the case. If it's who you know, not what you know. Sometimes I totally get that. nepotism, cronyism, whatever you want to call it. I don't tend to look back much, but you think of paths, don't you? Alternate realities, the time travel stuff we often talk about. What paths could have, there's no point obsessing about it, because what it is. But I think I've been fairly fortunate to kind of go, well, I like that, and I've managed to make it a living. I think that's been a really fortunate position. And you've had lots of different ones. You've probably had things that you kind of don't like, but you probably had lots of things.
Yeah,
that
I think
you
I've
really,
left all
really
my jobs.
So
the majority of them. Yeah,
so I think that's all you can really ask for, isn't it?
You see, I want to make this a bit political. Are we talking almost from a privileged position? Like, you can be anything if you have a certain number of qualifications and you come from a good family.
Schools, and we're kind of all right at school. I wasn't in the A stream. I was probably in the second one down for.
That's what we call the B.
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to think what
You're
they were
trying to work it out quickly, weren't you?
You can see. It's amazing. I was even in the B stream, really, wasn't it?
Everyone in the A stream knew what you were going to say.
But for some, like English, I was going to be in the B. But then for maths, which I've never been good at, I was in the C stream.
I was in the 3 stream.
There are people who have been in less privileged backgrounds, and like big, world famous sportsmen who literally came from nothing, have nothing, but still became something. So there are the examples and there are the exceptions. So I think we are talking from. It's easy to say the things we're saying based on the backgrounds we've had, but I think the idea of kind of designing your life shouldn't necessarily be based on the kind of the cards you've been dealt. Should we say?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you're kind of it's like you're born into something and that is it? You got no. You're on a path and you can't change it yourself. No,
100%. 100%. People have the ability, a lot of it through good luck, good fortune.
Yes, I'm not disputing that. I think I'm probably saying it's more mindset, because you might, if you're brought up in a certain way, you have your view, don't you? Your world view. Yeah. I think if you're kind of have a mindset that's able to open up and look outside of things and look around things, you might see there's another way to do things. It's very much a mindset thing.
I think the reason I'm disagreeing with you, and I'll tell you 2 things why I think I am, and I'm not doing this for the sake of it. I'm not doing this to be contentious. 2 things. I found a diary the other day from, I think, 1980. Yeah, 1980. And I think I mentioned it a few pods ago, and I'd literally done the first 5 days. Mm-hmm. And on day 4, January the 4th, I was in court with a lad. No, I wasn't in court. I actually stood bail for somebody, and he was in court. I think he ended up getting a caution or a fine. And then I think he had a big influence on the fact that I ended up doing so much work with offenders.
Okay.
But it reminded me, probably a couple of decades later, I was with somebody in prison who I'd been working with. We'd actually set a streak. Actually, he was a crack addict, and we'd set a streak of a certain time. Cool. I think I might have even mentioned, I think this might have got edited out, but I mentioned it before. And basically, on the day of meeting his streak, he went out, robbed a house, and bought a load of crack to celebrate.
We didn't talk about that.
So I should have maybe mentioned that.
Yeah,
so
okay.
I was working in a bail hostel. This guy used a lot of crack. We set this streak, and the streak was I was going to buy him a present if he went a certain number of days without doing it. I went out and bought him a nice present on that day. He didn't come back to the bail hostel. I went and found him. He was in prison because he robbed a house to get the money to buy the crack. Okay. The point I'm going to make is this particular guy, when we went in and I went, you're now going to get a prison sentence. Mm-hmm. And he went, I've already had a prison sentence, so none of the others matter.
Yeah, okay.
Because I am now an offender, an ex-offender. I can't get rid of that. And I said, well, but you can, because they become spent after a while, and you can maybe, explain to an employer.
You put distance. You can put distance between that.
And you can prove, like you're saying, you can move out of those tracks. Mm. I never kept in touch with him. Don't know what happened. But the point I want to make is, yes, that guy, he was actually very intelligent, and hopefully in prison he got maybe some sort of education or some rehabilitation and maybe made something of his life. However, at the same time in the bail hostel, there was another lad who was a friend of this other one. And I was there in the bail hostel, and one day, a guy hammering on the door, I opened the door and he said, does so-and-so live here? Is he a resident? And I went I'm not going to tell you anything. Got really feisty. I shut the door, locked the door. Anyway, long story short, this was the father of a young girl who was 16 and who was pregnant. And this lad who was in the bail hostel had made her pregnant.
Right.
But he'd made her pregnant when she was 15.
Right.
So the dad came up and went, I'm going to have him. I'm going
to kill him.
They'd been in a settled relationship, and this guy was intending to stay, although they were both very young. This guy was about 18, 19.
Yeah.
Had intended to stay and do his bit and get a job and look after the baby, whatever. Yeah. And the dad's going no way, he's not coming near her. Right. What happened was the father pressed charges, and the guy got done for unlawful sexual intercourse because with a minor because she was 15.
Yeah.
He then went on the sex offenders register. You cannot get taken off this particular register that he was on ever.
Crikey.
It doesn't become a spent conviction.
That's still the case.
But there's differences at the time.
Sure.
We can get into confusions here, but at the time, he basically had that label. An 17, 18-year-old lad had sex with a 15-year-old girl, and it can't be called consensual because she couldn't give her consent because of her age. This is what I'm saying about the tracks. Now, once he was in that track, he's now stuck. Because at the time, even Bristol City Council had a policy that no one with a sexual offence was allowed to work for Bristol City Council, whether it was doing the dustbins, picking up litter.
So that's that.
That's that.
And that's probably the most accessible jobs
for
an offender.
And things like he couldn't get insurance for his house. He couldn't get everything. I think the point I'm making is that you can get out of the tracks. And joking apart, the discussion we had about me being... having conflict with the police or incidents, and none of it's been major, so it's just it's just being a lad. However, when I was in positions of someone coming round to my house and seeing that I'd stolen a parking meter, or someone stopping me and blah blah blah, I'm a white, educated 25-year-old that could talk myself out of the situation.
Yeah, I get that.
He was uneducated. He was 18. There was no sense of compromise, and his future is ruined. And that's what I'm saying, is that element of privilege, whether it's because of intellect or colour or gender, does
geographic. I mentioned where you're born.
Yeah,
that's a massive part.
But if someone in my position had been in the same position with him, with making a 15-year-old girl pregnant, the chances are that would have been sorted without me having a criminal record.
I guess the circle. I'm not disputing that. But I guess
I think there's a lot of that people are put.
There's probably various examples. It's not just about having criminal records or having labels like that. But it's taken a bit. I wasn't expected to go down that route, but it was a case of I guess it's back to the plan. We have an opportunity to plan and shape what we do, and actually how often do we look at it? And maybe that is the point that is a huge privilege if you can even just sit down and have those thoughts. Sit down with on a coffee table in a dry house with a laptop, go right, and a coffee, and go, I'm going to plan. Maybe that's the point.
Well, maybe that's the intervention at school. Instead of having a careers bias, that you'd have someone who's going, I don't know, I'm your life coach, I'm your life planner. And 13, 14-year-old kids.
Yeah, I think
are given more guidance.
The reason I mention that is because I think the power of that spark that someone can give you. We're all kind of influenced by certain teachers.
Yeah.
There's probably certain teachers, stand out for all different reasons in terms of our backgrounds. But there's people like that. For me, I'm still in touch with my art teacher because she just gave me the kind of the mindset when I needed the most, or encouraged a mindset that maybe been there or something, or just challenged my view more than anything.
Yeah,
took what I believed and turned it upside down. And I went, okay, there's a different way of thinking things, and not everybody gets that chance. And you're right, I might have only had that experience because of both of mine and that person's upbringing, of course. But I think broadly, there's always an option, isn't there? There's always an option to not nick something, or I know it's not always that easy to say those things. We have choices, don't we?
You keep looking as if like, why is he looking at me like that?
No. I guess it's just choices, and it's easy for me to sit here and say the things I've got. But that's all I got. I can't just go and put myself in someone else's shoes and give you an opinion. That's for someone else to do. But
I'll tell you why I'm being contentious with you. I think one of the things that's happened this week is that I've just been hit by almost like the amount of inequality, not necessarily between rich and poor or educated and people with less education, but just in going back to yours, but basically life chances. And I was seeing something around Dominic Cummings, and it made me think about what you were saying when that policeman stopped to have a word with us.
Yeah.
This is happening in plain sight. Someone has done something that was against the rules, and because they're Dominic Cummings, nothing happens.
Yeah,
and the government are doing this. They're giving £163 million contracts to a health and beauty company that had been funding Boris Johnson's leadership without any procurement. I know when I was writing bids, anything over like 100,000, you had to.
So here's a view on that. I know this kind of dynamic between us crops up a lot, doesn't it? Jokingly, and sometimes with the Billionaires Boy Club and stuff like that. I totally get where you're coming from, and I never sit here going, "You're talking shit."
No, you're not. Likewise.
Because you're not. right? And I totally get it. But there's also an element of you can, and I'm also not sitting here going, there's nothing you can do. Because there is something we can do.
Yeah.
That's almost my point.
Yeah.
There is something you can do.
Yeah.
I am not that person that will feel that level of injustice and go and do something about it. I'm just not. We've kind of touched on this before with the effective altruism stuff.
Yeah.
I don't feel, and it's not that I'm not charitable, I don't care, that kind of thing. There's an element of looking after number one, taking accountability for myself first, got to get myself right before, and that may never change. Doesn't mean you can't help others or can't give money to things or whatever. But there is an option if you don't like the status quo. History has told us it only takes one person with a vision, someone who's an orator, I don't know, just a persona that kind of resonates with people, that can change the world.
Yeah.
Greta's a good example. No one saw that coming, right? She did something about it. She didn't go to school, did she? She sat on the sidewalk and she did something about it. It's easy to sit here. It's not easy to hear it, and you probably don't find it easy saying it, but there is so much injustice, and you're right. We can all just sit here and point and kind of go, that's outrageous. It's like, yeah, but what are we going to do about it?
Okay, so
we have choices, and I'm not sitting here going, I'm going to go and do. I'm not going to go and do something. I'm also sitting back going, I hope someone does do something about it.
Okay, so
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know totally.
So
what you
I
mean.
feel quite uncomfortable going right on, Mark. I'm absolutely behind. Be like an armchair activist. There's nothing worse, is there, than someone just tweeting all the time, blah 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 blah, and doing absolutely fuck all else about it. I ain't got time for that. But if they put that much energy into doing that, just create your own political party. Or again, back to this thing that we have. There's tools and there's ways to get to people. There's ways to get to thousands of people instantly these days. There wasn't all those time ago. And you think, bloody hell, they must have been really good, those people. Yeah. Even the fascists. Yeah. Didn't have Twitter, didn't have Instagram, but they managed to get a whole country or a whole continent on board. So, I don't know. Do you see one?
Yeah, no, you put your finger on the pulse.
I didn't know I was going down this route.
We didn't know this was going anywhere around this, and I don't think it's got any. So,
I don't have the answers, but I'm also going, I think I'm aware of all the angles. I'm not perfect. I'm not willing to go and bang the drum and sort this and get a following. Everyone come and follow me. We're all going to take down the system. I wouldn't know where to start.
But I think this has come to the nub of this, and this conversation you're going to have to edit a lot out because we've gone a long way down. So what I feel you've expressed there is the nub of what I'm trying to say. And what I'm trying to say is a little while ago, maybe 3 months ago, I was saying to you, and I said it on the pod, I was watching too much violence. Yeah. I was watching the BLM riots. And I think it was really interesting. I said to somebody yesterday, what do you think of the riots in Holland? And I was going, there's people being beaten and having a water cannon sprayed in their face and, and it's like, no, because the mainstream media doesn't want to show that in this country. And the same things have been happening in Poland and the same things have been happening in Madrid. Thousands of restaurants opened in Italy, all on one night. All of this has been kept out of the mainstream media. When I was watching too much violence, I realised it wasn't productive and it wasn't helping my mental health. So I stopped. What's happened now is I've taken what I've perceived as an intellectual approach to things like medication that would assist with COVID or things like my complaint to the BBC.
Yes.
Which has sent me down another rabbit hole.
We're going to have to come back to this, aren't we?
We will come back to this. So what's happened? My mental position at the moment is full of angst and
anger. I think you get angry about it, and I think it's
I'm
justified.
And I just feel we're living in such a pernicious society, and I want to do something about it. And I am an armchair activist, and I can talk the talk, and I can point things out like we're being listened to on our microphones, and it just feels like it's falling like balls of cotton wool. They're just drifting away, and I think what I'm finding is my personal angst at my inability to make a difference, like you were saying, to things that I see as wrong in society is getting to the point of causing me anguish that I'm not able to do stuff. And maybe it goes back to the Miss Heels was her name in the second year of infant school. Like you say, you always remember her name. The diplomat in me goes, I don't think life's fair. And most people go, it isn't. Get on with it. And at the moment, I'm in that position where the only, I guess, satisfaction I can get is either trying to do some personal building, if you like, through mindfulness and trying to change my attitude. And I guess also building, if I can influence others, in terms of if somebody has lost weight because I've given them an incentive, or someone has become, for example, someone I'm working with who has become so strong and so confident, and I'm getting pleasure from seeing somebody change. But I think what I want to do is make them a really big difference, and I don't think.
But that is. But I guess when you're looking at all the stuff you're looking at on a global scale, it's out of your control, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't sort of accept that. Which I should.
Is why no, I don't think you can go just because you can't change. You don't feel like you can change. It means you shouldn't try.
Yeah,
I'm not even saying that. I think we need more people. Don't need more of me, because don't need more of me not doing anything. I think we need more people like Greta, and people willing to stand there and sweat it out when no one's watching, actually.
And this is what I'd be prepared to do, I think. This is the thing. I'm sort of thinking I would be prepared to.
Yeah, but there's an element of where do you start? What do you do with the time you've got that's going to be effective, etc., etc. Yeah. But back on that, pushing the peanut for all the things we've talked about, just, doing one thing could lead on to another, could have a chain reaction.
Yeah.
You don't know. It's viral, isn't it? Greta's thing was she didn't do that expecting she was going to get the outcome she got.
Mm.
But she did it because she knew it felt, everyone thought she was probably mad doing what she was doing. Do you know what I mean? So I think we should never stop trying, no matter how small.
No.
Because you don't know how it's going to grow. But
yeah, I want to do that. I want to stand opposite someone and go, even if it's on bloody vitamin D, I just want 5 minutes with somebody and go, please just listen to this. And I guess it's a bit like the Marcus Rashford, isn't it?
You are doing that, but maybe you don't hear the feedback on it. Maybe, when you do,
which I suppose it's changing.
You change how I look at food and training and
and all that is massive for me.
Yeah,
but I think I don't know.
It's not like you haven't made a difference. It's like if you
I haven't gone out to Africa and dug a load of wells and.
No, that's not going to solve all the problems, though, is it?
No,
it's only going to solve some. Should we move on?
Yeah. God, that was complicated, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. It was good. Kind of didn't expect it to go there, but
sometimes just
it felt like a burp that was stuck, and I couldn't quite get it out. And then we did a burp, and then we all kind of started talking a bit. You know what I mean? It's like I just thought we were going to go. Yeah, we don't plan enough. Yeah, why didn't we try these things?
I guess that's what they used to call in the olden days, like a conversation, wasn't it? When two people be in the same room chatting about stuff.
Yeah,
in the snug.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
That doesn't happen anymore. Enough.
No one has a snug. That's what it is.
That's true.
Brain food. You already know about this. I think it kind of ties in some ways, but survivorship bias. I didn't know about it. I originally saw this tweet from Greg Eisenberg on Twitter, of all places, who said, I interviewed 5 billionaires this week.
Yeah.
I asked them to share their lessons learned on startups, life and entrepreneurship. Here's what they told me. This list is cool, and I shared it with my mate Tim, so I'll come on to that in a minute. These could be good nuggets. A startup idea isn't one idea. It's 1,000 ideas, 100,000 decisions, and 1 million headaches. You will lose some friends, kiss most of your high school friends goodbye. Certainties of life, death, taxes, and losing friends. A sign of wealth, no longer needing an alarm clock to wake up. When in doubt, please don't send that angry email. This is a good one. Please don't send that angry email response. Wait 24 hours. Go for a walk. Angriness makes you drunk. Send emails sober. I thought that was a really good one. We can all learn from that. Career advice, quit your job if it makes you exhausted, if you can. Be grateful for your job if it fills you with energy.
Yeah.
Likeable people win. People sense those good vibes. It does wonders for your startup career or life. You will doubt yourself a million times. It's only natural. Constantly cut your losses. Harmful in the short term, lucrative in the long term. There's a load of them. Now, of course, as someone like you would go, it's easy for billionaires to say, right? Which then got me onto, because I sent it to my mate Tim, and he said, and he says halfway down there was someone going, well, this is just survivorship bias.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, what's that? So,
because I only knew it. I'd heard one or two references, and I checked to reference when you mentioned, well, I only found out today you were going to do it.
You're right.
And the reference I knew was the aeroplane one.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to do.
Okay.
You looked in my notes. So.
No, I haven't looked in your notes.
Okay.
Is that written down in your notes?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got it here.
Apologies.
That's all right. The survivorship bias is essentially paying attention to only the successful kind of individuals and business, or the outcomes of perceived success, and not looking at the failures that help them get there. The classic, fail well, you only learn from your mistakes, etc., etc. So it's the logical error of concentrating on the people or things that made it past some selection process and overlooking those that did not, typically because of their lack of visibility. That's the Wikipedia reference. And I'll put this link up from richardhughesjones.com. One of the most famous examples of survivorship bias comes from Black Box Thinking, Marginal Gains and the Secrets of High Performance, an Amazon book, author Matthew Side. He highlights a serious challenge that faced the Allies during World War II. They were losing too many planes to enemy fire. Researchers proposed that more protective armour be added. However, only so much armour could be added to each plane before they became too heavy to fly. Specific parts of the plane had to be chosen to be armoured, with other parts left unarmoured. The researchers analysed the locations of the bullet holes on all the returning planes. They established that there were more bullet holes per square foot in the wings and fuselage than in the engine and fuel system. They recommended that the armour be added to these areas. These are the areas which had been, on average, across the whole fleet, the most peppered by bullets. Logic followed that armour should be attached to these areas. A mathematician named Abraham Wald didn't agree. He proposed the armour be attached to all the places where there were few or no bullet holes. Why? Well, the locations of the bullet holes in the planes that come home safely had not brought the aircraft down. Wald's alternative logic was that these areas in return planes where they found no holes must be the places where the planes that weren't so fortunate took fire. This brilliantly simple observation completely changed the approach the military took towards armouring their planes and no doubt saved countless lives. This is a classic example of survivorship bias, where the dataset analysed is only taken from the success stories. Brilliant. I mean, it sounds really obvious when you read it, but then you kind of go, actually apply that to...
Well, health is one place. I mean, business, you mentioned health in terms of feedback on survivorship of certain diseases, as you say it.
And I found this from the David McCraney blog. The misconception is you should focus on the successful if you wish to become successful. The truth is, when failure becomes invisible, the difference between failure and success may also become invisible. And if you spend your life only learning from survivors, buying books about successful people and poring over the history of companies that shook the planet, because we're pretty obsessed in this society these days, aren't we? Your knowledge of the world will be strongly biased and enormously incomplete. As the best I can tell, here is the trick. When looking for advice, you should look for what not to do, for what is missing, but don't expect to find it among the quotes and biographical records of people whose signals rose above the noise. They may have no idea how or if they fluked it. What you can't see and what they can't see is that the successful tend to make it more probable that unlikely events will happen to them while trying to steer themselves into the positive side of randomness. They stick with it, remaining open to better opportunities that may require abandoning their current paths. And that's something you can start doing right now without reading a single self-help proverb, maxim, or aphorism. Also, keep in mind that those who fail rarely get paid for advice on how not to fail, which is too bad because despite how it may seem, success boils down to serially avoiding catastrophic failure while routinely absorbing manageable damage.
I think the not doing thing is, I'm wondering whether, because you mentioned accountability a couple of times.
We have talked about that it's important what you don't do rather than what things that you do.
And I'm wondering whether the not is almost turned into I will. So I was just thinking, simple thing today. I mentioned to someone about hydration. My hydration at the moment is quite good, but I could have a what not to do. So again, not in health and fitness, but one of my things could be not to be sarcastic to policemen.
You're going to struggle at that, aren't you?
The success and failure for somebody who's maybe in a less privileged position, not being sarcastic. The number of videos at the moment where people are basically trying to pick a fight with people in authority with a mobile phone in their face going like, I know my rights, you can't arrest me. Maybe it's what I won't do is I will not prevaricate people in authority.
That's kind of what, and I totally understood you a bit about privilege and opportunity and all that kind of thing. I totally get it. But I think that's kind of what I was trying to get across.
That's the choices bit.
You don't have to put yourself in the firing line, do you? Well, this is just that plain story. It's exactly that.
Yeah.
You have a choice. You can be at the demo that gets a bit tasty, or you can walk away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean, like I said, there is a line between trying to make a difference. And sometimes you need to be there. You need to be at the demo. You probably need to take a whack from the riot police, or you know what I mean? If you believe that, and if that you strongly believed in something, then that is probably the right thing to do.
Yeah.
There are boundaries and there are lines to be drawn and crossed, but that's our own choice.
Yeah.
Any mailbags?
Yeah, we got one today from Adam.
He said, I'm a couple behind. Just listen to the reveal that Mark dated the tallest one from Bananarama. Nice one.
I just think...
Well, he's obviously a keen listener talking about our
respective height.
Our comments, about height.
Yeah.
Very good.
I don't think she was that tall at 11. She probably did tower over me. But...
Do you reckon that's why she went in the middle? Because she was the tallest and it looked a bit weird having the kind of, just for balance and symmetry.
Sort of,
maybe she wasn't the most talented. Sort of I mean, you would argue against that.
I've got a quote.
Okay, let's go.
I want to end on a quote.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, sure.
George Orwell. Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History has stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right.
When did you write that?
It was a while back.
Wow.
I thought the statues and street buildings being renamed was interesting.
Brilliant. That's it for this episode. On that note, on that poignant note.
Yeah.
Well done for getting this far and thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the pod and you feel you get something out of it, then please do subscribe to us and give us a 5-star review if you're on Apple Podcasts, and do tell a friend or 2 or 3. I mean, if you're lucky enough to have 3 friends.
Tell them all.
Yeah. give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at I'm Finecast. Go on. You really will. And you can send us an email to I'm Finecast. I'm really tired now. I'm really tired, Mark.
You've had a hard day.
I want to go to bed. Please help. Please send us an email to imfinecast@gmail.com or an Insta DM as Adam did, as we'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. In the next episode, you are going to tell us now what is in the next episode.
Fun and games, japes, jollity.
Sounds shit.
No, this has been. I came
organised fun. What are you on about?
Yeah, organised fun. You said, how was I at the beginning? And I went, steady. It's been all right. I've been quite good. It's like, and then it's like ending it on some Orwellian dystopian future. And this is me in a good mood.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're going to have forced jollity. Yeah. It's going to be.
Right, you're bringing that to the yard, right?
I'm bringing it to the yard.
I'm not sure I can muster up the energy, but
I'll provide the energy.
You know what I'm like with fun.
Yeah. But you know what I'm like with fun. I think our listeners deserve some balance.
Sure.
Yin and yang.
Lovely. Right. I should bid you good night.
Adieu.
Bye.
Bye.